I was born in 1949 in Cyprus. Back then, by 1963, we started having major problems with the Turks. A bit of a civil war, if you can call it. Being a young man and always liked guns and stuff, that was my opportunity. So my father decided that I'm going to stop a bullet because I was putting my head in front of everything, trying to be a big hero. So he sent me to South Africa because my two older brothers were already here. And funnily enough, my first brother that came here came because of the problems we had with the British, because he got involved in the Oga movement and he was almost exiled. And instead of going to England, he came to South Africa because of the political situation at the time. So I had a base. The intention was for me to go to school and get a good education and continue my education I had from Cyprus. But my intention was to come and buy a rifle and go back. And of course, the passport got confiscated. And since I didn't want to go to school, they put me to learn the trade in Fontana Bakeries, which used to be owned by my cousin Takis Xenopoulos and my brother. I did well. Within 2 years, I was manager of the bakery and even started writing recipes for the wheat board because I was very ambitious and I liked baking and I learned a lot. And then I carried on with Fontana right up to 1971. But in December '69, I opened a restaurant called the Salt and Pepper in Horizon View Shopping Center in Rudaport with my cousin and my brother being a sleeping partner and me working after hours, so that we can make it work. And also because I was earning a good salary from Fontana, I was being able to pay the rent for the couple of months for the Salt and Pepper. Eventually in '71, I gave up Fontana and took over the restaurant. It went very well, very successful. I then opened a second one and I took over an existing restaurant called The Bounty. But that was all hard work, and I was looking for some ways to get out of the restaurant business or at least a break. In the meantime, my other brother, the middle brother, was in the Zeerust area, and he started cattle farming. We were assisting, and I loved the hunting, so every winter, I'll be spending more time in Zeerust than anywhere else. And every weekend I'll get into my car, come to Zeerust, go hunting, and Sunday afternoon go back to work on Monday morning. And that carried on for quite a few years. So game farming, in the restaurant business, I should actually say, you meet a lot of people and you have different conversations and you meet people from all walks of life. Some of the people that they were coming was George Polos, that used to run the Krugerstop Game Reserve, which was a municipal game reserve with a few animals. And I used to drive there every now and then, go and visit him and look at the animals. And loving the hunting, then everything else together, I started showing an interest in game farming. It was just the beginning. It was an unknown factor. But it was very glamorous, and the glamour was a good attraction. Getting away from the restaurants was a good attraction, and hunting was even a bigger attraction. So a combination of factors. I approached my brother and I said, listen, I want to go cattle farming or farming. He says, no. One of us with cattle is enough, make money, bring it, we'll buy more cows. Then I thought, okay, game farming, he doesn't know enough about, I'll be the expert. So I said game farming. He says, all right, since you're so anxious to do it, we can fence 1,000 hectares in Dwaalboom. We had an 8,000 hectare farm there. So we started that, and then the opportunity arose that Nitverteen, this area here, where we are, came into the market through a friend of my brother who wanted to help another friend of his that got into trouble. So I ended up buying half the farm. And because we couldn't subdivide, we formed a company called ENGLEZAKIS and Swart. And that's how we started. Swart carried on with his cows, and I started fencing. And there was a herd of hartebeest here, which they were the last indigenous hartebeest to the Transvaal, that the Swart family protected for many years. The other thing that was in the area, there were a few springbok, which I found out a little bit later when I got to learn a little more, that this was hardwater springbok. So the hartebeest, helping the friend, and also because my brother loved this area for cattle farming. He says it's one of the best areas in the country. And it was beautiful those years, I must admit, open grassland. Today, we're having major problems with bush encroachment, but those years was different. It was open field. So I started having the hartebeest. I'll never forget, we came for Christmas to Zeerust, and we all took a drive to the farm, and I saw the first hartebeest babies running, and that was the most amazing feeling for me. It was just something that made me decide that this is very rewarding. So the next thing, I started buying other animals. I went to Natal and captured Nyala. I went to the Free State and captured Mountain Rietbuck, even though I didn't have many mountains, but it was the experience that count. And started stocking up and putting more and more animals and bringing the family over weekends and spending more time here. So it became an investment for the first 4 or 5 years without basically much reward in money, but it was very rewarding to see the number of animals increasing, the pleasure I was having with my family coming to visit with my friends, and that carried on for quite a few years. Back then, in 1981, I started an ostrich farm next to Sun City. Sun City was a big attraction those years. Sun City was only a year or two old anyway. And one evening at the restaurant, one of the friends that came over and we were talking, he says to me, how are you going to market your game? I said, well, I'll sell it to here and there. He says, why don't you start a game auction? I said, it's a bit difficult, but he says, you got a good address. It's a good place next to Sun City. You got the land there. So I started working it out. I had a partner in the ostrich farm, so he didn't want, obviously, to get involved in the game business. So I said, listen, I'll pay to build the holding pens. I'll pay everything. We can use them for the ostriches, but the majority of the year, once a year, I want to use them for my game sale. And that was the beginning. We had the first game sale in 1982 with animals coming from this farm. And it was very successful. People loved the Sun City idea. People loved the excitement of the game. The game pens I renovated it since then 5 or 6 times because, it was a learning curve. We tried this and tried that. And I then realized after the first game sale that I needed more glamour, or I needed more attraction. And I started looking for other animals, spoke to Natal Parks. We brought in a couple of rhinos that sold for very good money. And then eventually I arranged with Dr. Ab Mayberg and I caught some buffalo on his farm. A hell of an experience. I landed up with a bunch of stitches in my hand trying to get out of the plastic from fear of the buffalo. And we put them on auction, special arrangements at the pens because everybody was scared of buffalo, and it was the first time buffalo would be in game pens on an auction. And they were sold for 8,500 rand. 8,500 rand for a buffalo in 1983, when Impala was selling for 100 rand and Kudus for 1,000, it was a lot of money. He was looking for animals to take overseas, and I was looking for buffalo to bring to South Africa. But then when I brought them in for a cost of about 4,000 rand and sold them for 16,000 rand at the next auction, from that time on, because we didn't know the value of game, nobody had an idea what's an animal worth. All of a sudden there was a big interest in blue tigers, and that's what we have achieved.